Horns up, metalheads. Welcome to Radioactive Metal, The Interviews. In this episode, we take a segment from episode 471 of the Radioactive Metal podcast, where we sit down and speak with Blothar of Gwar. Check out the episode to hear Snowy and I talk about Gwar, why Gwar has been important to us, and most importantly, the legend of Oderus Urungus. So, with no further ado, sit back, kick back, grab a beer, and listen to Snowy's chat with Blothar.
First and foremost, I want to start off with, you've actually been doing this new position for a couple years now, I believe, but we are going to have some listeners today where this is kind of new to them. So first and foremost, let's maybe start off with, who exactly is Blothar?
Well, the Berzerker Blothar, that's me. I am the lead singer for Gwar, a band of intergalactic space aliens banished to the planet Earth, who have, out of sheer desperation, they've the one job open to them that they are actually stupid enough to do is to become rock stars. So, for years I was banished here with them. The lead singer for the band, for a long time, Oderus Urungus, disappeared mysteriously.
Mm-hmm.
And, we believe that he was killed by one of Gwar's arch enemies named Mr. Perfect, and I have taken his place as the singer for the band. And we recently did our first album with me singing for the band called The Blood of Gods.
Mm-hmm. That was going to be my next question. When is that out? And I believe you're going to be going on tour right away in support of that.
Yes, October 20th it comes out. And that very day we play in Gwar's adopted hometown of Richmond, Virginia.
Ah. Right on. And it just kind of hit me now. We're talking just 11 days before Halloween, and we're getting a new Gwar record. It's like, oh yeah, look at that. Is that just me thinking this now, or was that kind of planned?
Well, I mean, of course, Gwar likes to. Generally, we go out around the last week of October. So, we decided to put the album out right as we're going out, and that makes perfect sense. So, Gwar is the ultimate Halloween experience, and people tend to like. People tend to like to go to Gwar shows in the fall. We've noticed that people just respond. That's when they expect Gwar to come around. That's when they're thinking about dressing up like spooky things and stuff like that. But Gwar, of course, we're always in our gear, but we do have Halloween costumes on Halloween that we wear. Last year I was a fairy princess. Beefcake was a fireman.
I got to see a picture of that.
Ballsack was what was Ballsack? I think. I don't know. I think Ballsack was Joey Greco from the show Cheaters.
Ah, wow.
Yeah.
Cool. With this record being your vocal debut and all that, and like those are really big shoes to fill. Okay, and you've heard this over and over the last couple of years, but please accept our condolences as well. What was going through your head as you're laying down the tracks to this? Were you nervous? Were you, what's just going through your head?
Well, first of all, everybody says that they're big shoes to fill. I've heard that a lot, but Oderus didn't wear any shoes, and I don't have any feet, so it's kind of perfect. So I wasn't really thinking about filling Oderus's shoes. What I was thinking about was doing my own thing. We certainly didn't want to step up to the plate and do the same thing that Oderus had done, but poorly, and really even just doing the same thing Oderus had done in any way would ultimately be held up in comparison and found lacking, right? Because we had to do something new, and that's what this record is. It's something new for the band, and that's what we were thinking when we were making the record, and what I was thinking when I was tracking the vocals was, I do different things than Oderus. I sing differently. I have a different voice. I have a different register of a different voice type. So we were just trying to make something that sounded good. And I think that we got there. So, we're happy with the record.
Right on.
Gwar can be, which, Gwar is never truly happy. But, we're at least pleased for the moment.
Yeah. I don't think the world wants a happy Gwar. No,
definitely not.
for sure. First single, "Fuck This Place." What's the whys and wherefores and everything behind that?
Well, "Fuck This Place." It is. The song is about exactly what it says. It's Gwar looking around themselves here on the planet Earth, finding themselves here without their leader, Oderus, and that's a topic on the record. On the whole, the blood of gods is a reference to the loss of Oderus, and in the course of "Fuck This Place," the song really details Gwar's arrival on the planet and our just general dissatisfaction with living on the planet Earth, and our general dissatisfaction with living here without Oderus. Oderus having left, Oderus really truly said, "Fuck this place," and then he split. But we're still here, and we're still going, and it's not easy. And so we're looking around ourselves and saying, "Fuck this place." And the world is getting, especially living here in America, gradually things just seem to be getting worse and worse. So it's an appropriate, I think, an appropriate sentiment that our fans readily echo. And it was great because we sort of debuted the song on the Warped Tour. So we're sitting there on the Warped Tour saying, "Fuck this place." And getting the fans to sing that, and boy, they were more than willing to say "fuck this place." They all hate where they live, that's what's on people's minds a lot of times. Not necessarily hating where they live, but certainly it expresses a dissatisfaction that seems to register strongly with our fans and with new fans too.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of thinking, especially like you mentioned, the climate in America right now isn't very positive with everything that's going down, and that kind of brings me to, and I haven't heard this song yet, but El Presidente?
El Presidente,
does that title kind of speak for itself as to the whys and wherefores of what that's about?
Well, I mean, more or less. The song is not directly about any person. It's really about Gwar tackling, working for the shadow government that controls the world. And if Trump fears the deep state, then surely Gwar comes from the deeper state, right? This is the state so deep that it exists at the very core of the planet Earth. And Gwar are chaotic beings that are on the side of chaos. But and Trump, interestingly enough, he represents chaos in some ways here in America, or it certainly feels more chaotic living here with that guy being president. But, the song's not directly about him. It's more about Gwar coming up from our lair in Antarctica and really asserting ourselves as taking over the country. It's a sort of coup, the story of a coup that is staged by Gwar. And what a happier place it would be if Gwar managed to come into the Oval Office and rip off the face of Donald Trump and suddenly we started, can you imagine Gwar trying to pass a health care reform bill? It would be really interesting, Mm-hmm. We're going to work with Congress and we're going to get this thing done. I can guarantee you're going to have health care. That's wonderful. Gwar will make sure of it. We're going to put those Canadians to shame with our health care. They'll be embarrassed.
Right on.
And we're going to open Winnipeg-style strip clubs in every town in America.
Yeah. Trust me, I have lots of American friends that they say to me, "Is it true that the strippers they do everything? They go all the way?" It's like, oh yeah.
Well, that's the one feature about Winnipeg that we'll always remember is especially the combination hotel, bar, strip club, daycare center, which seems like very exclusive to Canada.
It's gotten me into trouble more than once. Yeah. For sure. I'm glad you're going to experience that. If you're going to take anything out of your trip up here, let it be some wicked memories like that. For sure. You do your own rendition of AC/DC's "If You Want Blood." You got it, and I can't think to myself, you couldn't come up with a more appropriate song for this band to cover when you think about it, because the last time you guys were up here, for pretty much most of the show, I was taking your blood cannon directly straight to the face, and there was no way that I was moving that whole night, no matter what you guys did to me. It was absolutely amazing. So when you guys announced that, okay, we're doing this song for the record, it's like, oh yeah, for sure. Is that kind of the idea behind it?
Yeah, I mean, 100 gallons of blood a night, that's what Gwar spits out at the audience, and we're going to go over that on this tour if we can. I mean, it's perfect. It's just a song that, we like to tell people that we actually wrote that song. It's not a cover song. AC/DC covered it from us. We wrote it. It's a little tune that I wrote with Bon Scott in the men's room of a bathroom stall, the men's room somewhere down in Sydney. And we were hanging out doing coke, and we just sort of, if you want blood, it just fell into place. And then, of course, we gave the song to them, and they did it. And then, years later, we're taking the song back.
Taking it back, right on. That's what I want to hear.
But it is truly, AC/DC is one of the great rock bands in history, and we're so happy that I've always been so pleased that a band full of men under 5 feet tall could rock so hard. It's wonderful.
Yeah, you know what? I never thought of that. Like, we always knew that, Angus is just a little guy, but yeah, I guess they're all a little. Huh.
Yeah, none of them. They're not even, when you go to a theme park and it says you must be this tall to ride this ride,
None of them can get on any of the rides. Okay.
No, none of them.
Right on. Gwar's been doing this now. Oh, well, you're on the other side of 30 years.
That's right.
Now, and there's got to be something to the longevity of that. I remember when the Hello record first came out. Yeah, I'm pretty ancient myself. And like everyone was like totally blown away. Like this is Alice Cooper and Kiss times 1,000 and all that. But some of the naysayers might have been thinking, Well, that's a good gimmick, but, like, how long is that going to last? Well, it's been 30 years now, motherfucker. Like, there's something to this band.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, it's a funny band. I mean, the reason Gwar's still around is the reason that Gwar was around in the first place. I mean, when we first came into existence, we'd been looking at all the bands that were around, and, all, the human rock bands are getting up on stage, and there's no effort. There wasn't any effort at presentation. There wasn't, people weren't trying to entertain anymore, and it was more like just guys standing on stage and playing instruments and people listening to it. And, we wanted to bring an element of theatricality back to rock music. And into punk rock music. And that's how Gwar started, was as a punk rock band that was, in a sense, parodying heavy metal. And that's really what it remains. I mean, even though the sound of the band has changed tremendously between Hello and the Blood of Gods, the one common factor with, there's a whole slew of musicians. Everybody on the record's different, except I was the only member in this band who was on the record Hello. And what I think about it that's different is from between now and then is that Gwar are still a symptom of American ennui and pure boredom with music. Like, if anything, the situation has gotten worse. The bands that take the stage now, there's not a lot of great musicians that are blowing people away. Everybody's conforming to genre. And working within very safe parameters. There's not a lot of pushing the envelope as far as music goes. And, there are extreme forms of music, but even that has become almost cliche, a lot of it. So, we wanted to, Gwar is still, I think, we're eclectic. We have an eclectic sound, and you can hear that on the first record, and you can hear it on this record. And you can also hear Gwar stretching the bounds of genre on both records, the first and the latest. So, that's an interesting element of Gwar's. I don't know. That just explains what I think about the way that the band has changed over those 30 years. We've matured as far as our sound goes. Certainly the band went through a period where they conformed to genre more than stretching those definitions. Around like the 90s, the band really solidly identified itself as a heavy metal band and started playing metal music. But it never really lost the punk rock spirit, and that's there. And I think it comes out on this record maybe more than some of the more recent ones.
Right. You mentioned going back to the Hello record. I believe it was 87. Was it 87, 88 now? That
87. Well, I recorded it. 87. It was the last year. 87 is, and I think maybe 88 is when it came out. But
okay, and that was a time I remember. It was post Tipper Gore and all that, but there was still a lot of that conservative censorship going on at the time. Like, Gwar must have been a real kick in the head to the Tipper Gores of the world back then. Like, that must have been holy shit.
Yeah, and the human slave of Gwar's now our deceased singer, the human slave for that person was a Canadian, and by birth, who had relocated to the United States, And he was arrested and more than one time. Gwar shows were shut down by police early on in the late 80s and early 90s. And the reason that made a difference is that when Gwar when the singer was arrested, being not from here, an alien in the truest sense, we had to actually cop a plea to that charge because if you're convicted of a sex crime, they're going to ship you right back to Canada, which is what America does with all of our sex criminals, whether they're Canadian or not. We just send them up there.
Gee, thanks.
Yeah. We send them all to Nova Scotia.
Wow, right on. That's good to hear. It's like I seem to like Americans. Unfortunately, they can be tagged where they might not necessarily know very much about what's going on in the world outside of their borders. But when I talk to musicians, they seem to know their fair share of Canada and all that. So when you say Nova Scotia, I'm like, thank you. I appreciate that. That's awesome.
So,
but I guess that's
just
with touring.
Yeah, we know Canada. I've always loved Canada. It's a great place to not be in America. Just go up there and walk around and pay a lot of money for cigarettes and eat weird candy bars. Great.
Right on. Well, we're looking forward to when you guys get up here next. You guys just recently finished the Warped Tour, as you mentioned, and for me, and I don't know how much has changed about the Warped in the last 20 years, but I recall it being it's almost like a starter drug for young hard music fans, the young pop punk girls, that are just kind of getting their feet wet with aggressive music and all that. And is it kind of the same? And if so, like Gwar for them must be just like, oh, holy shit, like the first time they see something like you guys.
Yeah, well, it is the same. Yeah, absolutely. It's a bunch of, that's what what Warped Tour was. It's kind of a bad idea. It's like, let's take all these crusty old perverts and young new perverts and surround them with 10,000 prepubescent girls and see what happens. But I mean, pretty much that's it is a lot of young people who are just testing the waters, and they all had of course, they really all look the same to us. It's just a bunch of girls with red and black hair and kids with weird stuff stretching out their earlobes. But I mean, but yeah, that's exactly what Warped Tour was. This time they tried to make it a little harder than it has been, like getting more aggressive bands playing, and but it was great for this band to walk on stage in front of an audience of acne-ridden prepubescent teens, their braces gleaming in the sun, and just hose down their pockmarked faces with our freaking hot curdled load. It was awesome.
No. Hopefully you picked up a whole new slew of followers.
Yeah,
from
and
that.
venereal diseases too. Yes, absolutely.
Oh, I don't know,
Sure,
dude.
yeah.
It's too early for this.
An ocean of chlamydia.
When you're not playing like the Warped Tour, when it's just a regular tour and all that, what is the Gwar audience now like? Is it predominantly just older guys like me that just have followed the band all throughout, or are you getting, all sorts of audience now?
Gwar, Gwar is a band that is loved by children, ironically enough. Gwar is a band that we have older followers who are with the band, but it's a band that is remarkably portable in that sense. Like young fans, people who haven't seen Gwar, they're blown away by it's just the very first Gwar tour was truly an amazing thing. Taking this act across the country and watching people's faces when we would do it in these tiny clubs, some of them, just a restaurant, very small venues, and people reacting to the band. And in a way, now as the generations change, we're getting to do that all over again, to play in front of people who've never seen the band and don't know what to expect. And they invariably enjoy it. They invariably, most people come away, I think, that actually see the band and watch the band, thinking that it's an incredible spectacle and it's hard to look away from, and it frees people's minds in a way to see what we're doing, because it stretches the bounds of what they're used to seeing. And, Gwar still has that effect on people. And so, I think that it does appeal across generations. And every time the band plays in front of people who haven't seen the band before, we gain new fans. And that's what we're trying to do. We're out here trying to take over the freaking world. And, so far, Warped Tour was great for us because we did get to play in front of tons of people who'd never seen the band, and there's a lot of new Gwar fans, I can tell you that. So, yeah, the band appeals to young folks as well.
Right on. Exactly
and
what I wanted to hear.
Babies love Gwar. That's my favorite thing, babies.
Right on. And finally, we'll let you go and get on with your day. I'm just kind of curious, how much longer, like we said, it's on the other side of 30 years now. How much longer do you think you've got left in doing this? Are we looking at another 30 years? I hope so.
Well, I think that, the former singer, Dave Brockie, said that Gwar could last 1,000 years. And we hope so. That's what we're going for. That's definitely what we're going for. But, you never know. I can tell people that. Don't take Gwar for granted just because we've been around for so long. Get your ass out of the house and come see the band, because nobody knows what tomorrow will bring.
We hope you enjoyed our interview with Blothar of Gwar. If you have never seen Gwar live, you've got to go. And like we talk about in episode 471 of the podcast, wear white. Trust me. Gwar's on tour. They will be coming through Winnipeg, Manitoba soon. When they do, you can bet Snowy will be front and center and probably backstage talking with the band again. So until next time, metalheads, make some noise, get the horns up, and we'll see you on the flip side.
Visit us at radioactivemetal.org or go to iTunes for past episodes and write a review. Listen to us live every Thursday night on purerockradio.net. You can also listen to us on Stitcher.com, TuneIn.com, Google Play, and all the other podcast aggregators. You can purchase the music featured in this episode by going to radioactivemetal.org and clicking on the episode link. Leave us a voicemail. We want to hear from you. Call 321-80-HEAVY or 321-804-3289. We may even play it on the show. Email us at radmetal666@gmail.com with suggestions or for indie spotlight submissions. Follow us at facebook.com/radmetal, twitter.com/radmetal666, and instagram.com/radioactivemetal. This has been a presentation of Radioactive Metal. It's not metal unless it's radioactive metal.